Conscientiousness, it's one of the big 5 personality traits. And part of being an artist is understanding your personality and the kind of artist you are. There's all kinds of different artists, but this is one of the most important aspects of being an artist is conscientiousness, which is how industrious are you, how much effort do you put into things, how good do you want the final product to be to your own standards. And, maybe it's because you were an A+ student in school and you got a lot of pats on the head for trying really hard. And that's sort of embedded itself into the way you do everything. And so when someone who's very highly conscientious starts making art, they think, well, I do everything else perfectly, so I'm going to do this perfectly too. And there's some problems with that. We're going to talk about that. One of which is as you approach perfection, you never quite get there. And so you can catch yourself iterating over the first part of your project or your first project over and over again. And you're not learning as much as you would as if you just lowered your standard of quality a little and got it out. Because when you do that, you meet with reality. So for example, if you're level 1 of your video game, you keep iterating over it and make level 1 really, really good. You spend a year on level 1, but your project should have 10 levels. Are you going to spend a decade on your first project? I don't think that's a good idea. It's not a good idea. So what you got to do is lower your bar of quality a little bit. So highly conscientious people, they need to learn how to lower that level in their head before they're satisfied with their final project. Low conscientiousness people, they need to learn the opposite lesson sometimes. Sometimes they need to learn how to put more effort into things when it actually matters. But in both cases, what you're looking for here is adaptability, flexibility, learning how to put a lot of time and care into a project that deserves it, and learning when to just try something out and not have it be very high stakes. This is sometimes difficult for my high conscientiousness clients, A lot of the time they've been sold this idea that they need to meet a certain standard of quality to be worthwhile, to be valuable. And a lot of the time, that extra effort you're putting in to the last 20% of the project is not worth it. It's not going to pay off. An example for the video game example is you get through level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6. It takes a decade to do it. You release the video game and then you realize, oh shit, this game is fundamentally flawed and I need to redo it now. You could have came to that conclusion in a month if you just level 1, good enough, level 2, good enough, level 3, good enough. The whole project, good enough. You put it on itch.io, you see what people say in the comments. You realize the people in the comments point out a fundamental flaw in your game that needs you to redo it from level 1. Disaster if that takes 10 years. If it takes a month, that's not so bad. You've learned a lot by the process of getting it out and having it meet reality. So being highly conscientious can sometimes get you stuck in your own head and create this sort of roadblock from growing and changing in an important way. And I actually think in today's modern landscape of posting things on the internet, screaming into the void, the high conscientiousness guy, there are many more times when the high conscientiousness guy needs to lower his standard of quality rather than the low conscientiousness guy increasing his standard of quality. That being said, if you are a low conscientiousness guy and you're just kind of making things in a day and you don't really care too much if there's an error, or it's not going to keep you up at night if you could have made a certain segment of your video better, let's say if you're making YouTube videos. But there are some sort of circumstances where the low conscientiousness guy makes 10 videos and number 6 goes viral. That's a good indicator that now it's time to lock in, so to speak, and spend a lot of time and care on that next video that's in the same vein as number 6. If you talk about a certain topic with number 6 and you want to make another video on that topic, now it makes sense to lock in and make it really cool. If one of my videos, I'm a low conscientious artist, so the lesson I've learned over the last few years from working with other more high conscientious artists is just sometimes you do need to take more care of the project. Spend a couple $100s on props, spend a couple $100s on a venue to shoot the music video from, hire a filmographer. That kind of stuff is normally I wouldn't do that, but because I'm starting to try to get a little bit more conscientious, especially with working with highly conscientious people, I'm realizing that there are some limitations to being low conscientious in that sense. But yeah, when you are low conscientious, then that's and something that you just kind of made in a day does really well. That's a signal, okay, now I'm going to make a really good music video based off that thing that does well. And this is the exact strategy that works for a lot of people. There's this shorts TikTok guy, Tay Zonday or something. I'll put his face here. He does a lot of one day turnaround TikTok style shorts, where he's listening to rap music. Some of the rap music he makes himself. Okay, interesting. Some of those videos of rap music that he makes himself go super viral. Okay, he could just keep making, YouTube shorts that probably don't make him any money. Or he could take that signal, which he did. He took one of those shorts that went really viral, and then he walked in. The short wasn't very good. He probably made it in a day. But it didn't need to be good, is the point. He was flexible enough for it to not be very good. But when it goes viral, then you're like, okay, time to lock in. You crank up the conscientiousness level. And then he made a really, really, really good music video about rappers not being relatable anymore. Because he knows there's a market for it now, and he knows that effort is going to pay off. So that's a very good example of someone being adaptable with their conscientiousness. And you want to be flexible and adaptable with your conscientiousness. You don't want to be just feel like you're better than people because you're spending a lot of time on something. That doesn't make you better than them. It often makes you worse. And it often means that the effort that you put into that last part of a project, sometimes it makes it worse. Sometimes it makes your project worse. Your 80% done project might be someone else's 100% done project. Your 100% done project might be someone else's 50% done project because you were changing details and adding things that nobody wanted, and you didn't know that nobody wanted it because you never got a prototype of your video or your game or your book out. So instead of rewriting chapter 1 100 times, instead of iterating over part 1 of your project 100 times, instead of iterating over your first project 100 times, get part 1 out, get your project out, see what people say. That is almost always the better thing to do for your own development as an artist. And if you want me to yell at you like this, but in a one-on-one frame, my calls are open now. You can buy them for the month of, I think, September. Yes.